and I hear the conversation. Hey, dude, what did you pay to come here? Well, I paid 700. Hey, dude, what did you pay? Oh, I paid 975. They look at each other and they turn around and they go to the bride. They go, hey, you're a travel professional. Rip me off.
So, you are planning a destination wedding and you have already chosen your resort. And actually, at this point, it really doesn't matter if you've chosen your resort or not. This is a great episode for you. It doesn't matter where you are in your destination wedding planning journey. It doesn't matter where you are choosing to plan your destination wedding, and it doesn't even matter what resort you are choosing to have your destination wedding at. This episode will be helpful for you. I promise. Yes, I'm promising you that this will be helpful. So, are you ready? Let's go. Oh, 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 no, no. Oh, 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 no, no. Hey, Destis and Bride Friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Desti Guide to Destination Weddings. I am happy to be here with you, and I am so excited to share this interview with you. I get so many questions about resorts, which makes sense, right? Resorts are like the meat of your destination wedding. And for that reason, I do have episodes already about destination wedding resorts, but the questions just keep coming in and you have to kind of dig deeper and deeper. And this is one of those deep dives that I'm really excited about. I brought back Jack Benoff of Vacationeeze and Destination Wedding Ease. And today we are digging into, well, as I've said a billion times, destination wedding resorts. So if you haven't had a chance to meet Jack either in one of the past Desti Hour live Q&As that he's done or just by watching one of his past episodes, you are missing out, but you won't be missing out for long. In addition to this interview, Jack will also be doing another Desti Hour live Q&A really soon. So if you're not a part of the Desti Lovers community, you want to go ahead and join that and pause this, join, come back, and get your notepad because you don't want to keep missing out. So there was so much information packed into this interview that it's actually going to be a three-parter. I really wanted to make sure that I chopped it up into bite-sized pieces for you to make sure that every single piece you really can focus on and get the most out of. I know sometimes if I just give it to you all in like a large 1 hour plus episode, then so much can get lost in the sauce. So much can get lost for you. So I felt that this was best for you. So I can't wait to hear how much you love it. If you are brand new, make sure that you give me that hashtag I'm a Desti and let me know when and where you are getting married. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel. This channel is all about helping you plan your destination wedding and having a great time. If you have any questions, make sure that you drop them in the comment section below if you are watching this. But if you're listening to this, make sure that you write them down or just take notes and you can send me the DM or drop the questions in the community too. I have to remember, I've been told I gotta remember about talking to my podcast listeners too. So you enjoy this interview and I will see you really, really soon. And until then, as usual, I am wishing you all the best week of your life and reminding you to have the time of your life, planning the best days of your life. Bye, guys. Hi, Jack. Welcome back.
Hello, Omi. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's so great to have you back on the show. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I am great. It is, people are traveling. The world is doing well travel-wise. So it's fun to be planning destination weddings.
Yeah, we were just talking and you were talking about how booked you are and how so many weddings you've got 21s, 22s, and 23s rolling in, right?
I have people asking about 24 as well, too. Kind of crazy.
Wow. Yep. Okay.
Wow.
20. Yeah. I mean, it's the middle of 21. Yeah. It took us a while to save, so I'm not mad at that. I get it. Okay. Is that more of a COVID reason, you think, or is it financial?
Yeah. I don't know. I think people are just planning, right? And the biggest thing I tell people for 24 and 23 is, hey, a hotel that is a hotel today may not be the same hotel in 23 or 24. And I know in each destination, there's 5 to 10 new hotels that prior to COVID were under construction, but during COVID slowed down, and they may be the hot places.
Yeah.
So just, mellow out. Let's stay in a holding pattern. Let's chat. And, as we get 18 months, 16 months, let's have another call and let's figure out what's good. Because what we've seen during COVID is certain hotels weren't making it. And there's 5 off the top of my head that people probably have weddings booked at, and they changed from a certain brand to another brand.
Yeah.
And then the question is, what happens at that point? What is your contract? Does the contract go with the prior owner, the new one? And then what happens if you don't like what it's become? So to me, I think 18 months is, where I'd like to be with planning. If you're a large group like the Indian and Nigerian weddings we do that are 150, 200 rooms, we have a wedding now I'm working on for 500 people, and it's legitimately going to be that big. Yeah, 2 years in advance, because then we need to find ballroom space, right? Some of the hotels don't want to give up all those rooms. So, but if you're, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, I don't think, I know it's great to plan. So I'm a planner, but I don't think you need to plan 2-3 years in advance.
Okay. I mean, that could be a good time to travel, look at some places, kind of just have some fun, enjoy. I always say enjoy your engagement anyway. So, like you said, mellow out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Play with some things. I like that. And speaking of, actually, let's go back to this 500-person wedding. When these weddings that you do that are that large, the hundreds, do you ever have like beach ones? Can they do that? Or are they basically indoors?
No. So a lot of the multicultural, let's say, weddings we do are the larger ones.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're multicultural, they may have certain religious or cultural events. So like our Indian weddings could almost be 5 weddings in one. And what we try to do is find host resorts that we're not replicating the same event venue for every event. So a lot of times we'll do like a welcome cocktail party in the evening on the beach, right? Informality, take the flip-flops. Then we may find a pool deck for something. The recurrent theme for larger weddings is they want to party. They want to dance all night long. And as you may know, and some of your listeners may know, a lot of the resorts on the outdoor venues have curfews. You got to shut the party down by a certain time.
Right.
And that time is 10 or 11 o'clock at night usually. And people are like, why? Well, the reason is because that outdoor venue could be outside my room. And the last thing I want to do at 11 o'clock at night is have you partying to 1 because I can't hear or sleep.
Right.
So a lot of times you will find the ballrooms are primarily used when people are doing a reception that's going to go into the wee hours of the morning. But to answer your question, when we work with a client, one of the first things we try to do, and brides think I'm crazy for asking these questions of them, is can you give me your proposed room, event flow? And hey, what is it you're dreaming of for each, like your theme for each one of these events? Because it's better to know now than it is to know 30 days before. Because if you want to do a rooftop or a bonfire, or you want a boho chic or a white night, we need to make sure that the resorts that you're thinking about actually can offer that. Because some of the resorts replicate 3 beach venues and a ballroom, right? And my thought is, if you're going to do a ballroom, why go to Punta Cana, Riviera Maya, St. Lucia, Greece, wherever, when you can stay home and do a ballroom? So, I think you want to take in the beauty of nature and the surrounding environment, for your events. But to answer your question, we try to look at resorts that have multiple venues, so that if you are having multiple events, which our large weddings do, that we don't have to replicate beach.
Yeah, I love that. And this feels like that could be a whole episode in itself. I'm taking my notes, talking about large weddings, because I've got all the questions. And then I get questions too, and that's something that I know nothing about. The hundreds plus, well, the hundreds. Yeah, those are the big ones. Yeah. But what the topic for this episode is supposed to be is about room blocks and contracts and insurance and all of the things. So let's dig into that. which is related.
Sounds
it's in
good.
the same space. So when it comes to room contracts, and I really love choosing this topic because you have a video on your YouTube channel that you really dig in on what Desti should be thinking about, specifically what, like, breaking down the contracts and all of those things. So I kind of want to touch on a couple of things and then kind of give them a taste of all of the information that you offer on your channel at the same time too. So
Okay.
when it comes to wedding contract, I guess let's just start. When it comes to contracts, I know that we have, like, you can do a room block or you cannot. What are your thoughts and what are your feelings on those?
Yeah, so there's really two ways, right? So some people will say that I hear from brides all the time, I don't want to sign a contract. And I try to explain the benefits, right? So there are two ways to do it. You can either not sign a contract, which is everybody just books with your travel professional or on their own, and you typically aren't going to get perks. You're definitely not getting a free room. You know, they're really, the perks are lower. Now, some of the resorts are coming up with what's called a flex group, which says you don't need to put a deposit down. We'll block some rooms aside for you, but we're not guaranteeing the price. But if that flex group grows and you meet a certain criteria, we'll start giving you some perks. I try not to do them. Here's the problem that I've found as someone that travels a lot. And I'll give you an example. I'm sitting in the pool at the swim up pool bar. There's a wedding couple and a bunch of their friends in the pool. And I hear the conversation, hey, dude, what did you pay to come here? Well, I paid $700. Hey, dude, what did you pay? Oh, I paid $975. They look at each other and they turn around and they go to the bride. They go, hey, you're a travel professional, rip me off. No. Dig down deep into it, and what happened is they didn't do a room block. Now, the other problem with doing the flex group is you don't own the inventory. Now, in the past, I'm not sure that was that important. I think maybe it was, but it's less. We are seeing resorts sell out. We have a wedding in July of 2022 at a resort with 600 rooms, and we have already booked up 10 of the rooms in a specific room category, which is like a swim out pool, which the swim outs are really popular, but we can't get any more. The resort is sold out of their swim out pool rooms for 2022 in July. So that's the problem with the flex group is if you fall in love with a specific room type at a resort, you're not going to get them if they sell them out. And then the rates are all over the place. And what we see is the closer you get to departure, the higher the rates go. In the past, when resorts weren't selling out, sometimes they put the rooms for sale. But we're seeing hotels that are just sold out. I mean, we have a wedding this November that people now want to extend by a couple of days. We can't get rooms. And this is at a 1,300 room hotel.
Wow.
So the flex group, it gives more flexibility that the couple doesn't have to put money up. But again, to me, I'm a real advocate of having a contract, a room block, a group contract. So those are the two ways. And I think the third way to do it, and I hear people do this all the time, and it's not a great way, is you may book with the resort directly, or you don't do anything. You just book your wedding with the wedding department, and you say to your friends and family, I'm having my wedding at X resort. See you there. To me, that's just crazy because you're, as the bride, losing out. There's no benefit to you, and I can guarantee you your guests are going to call you about 1 billion times and ask you, what's the name of that resort? I heard a story not too long ago that a bride did this. This was actually on a plane not too long ago. I was sitting there overhearing a discussion. A bride booked a wedding. The woman that was across the aisle from me said she booked a wedding, but she misunderstood the bride, and she heard she was having her wedding at the Riviera Resort. And I said to this woman, as I was talking to her, which Riviera Resort? She goes, well, that was the problem. I didn't listen, and there's like 30 Riviera Resorts in Riviera Maya, Mexico.
Imagine that,
wasn't until, right, about a month or two prior to the wedding, she was talking to someone else about the wedding and excited. And she told the other woman, oh, I think you booked the wrong resort. And then they finally talked to the bride and looked at the information and know that woman booked the wrong resort. So she lost her money to the first resort because she booked it I don't know where. And then she had to get to the right resort. So to me, I just think that it really, to me, I don't think that's a good way to do it. I understand as a bride, you don't want to deal with it, but hey, that's what we're here for, right? I mean, we're travel professionals. This is what we do. So I think if there's three ways to do it, you really have kind of the DIY, just everybody, here's where my wedding is, just show up.
Yeah.
I think that's the worst thing you can possibly do. The second one is the flex group, which again, there are reasons people have done them. And then to me, truly the best way to do it, and if it's done correctly, is a room block and a group block. And there's a lot of advantages to it, and there's ins and outs to it, but people don't like signing contracts, and you have to sign a contract and put a deposit up with a room block.
Yeah, I talk to my brides all the time, and I'm a huge advocate for getting a room block. I think that that's the best way to do it. Yes, you have to spend a little bit of money up front, but that money ends up going towards your room, whatever's left over. But then you get your guests to RSVP by securing that. Like, you just get that money back. So just do that. That makes the guest actually, take the steps to actually come at a time that makes the most sense. And you're allowing your guests, I feel like it's taking care of your guests. That third idea, third option. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the room block, I think it solves a couple problems. One is it guarantees that you actually own the rooms, right?
Right.
So for a period of time, if you're a year and a half out, you're going to own those rooms until 30, 40, 65, whatever the contract requirements are of when you have to give the rooms back.
Right.
It guarantees that all your friends and family are going to not have my small pool bar problem, is that as long as you book in the room block, you're guaranteed your rate. So everybody staying in a tropical or an ocean view is going to pay the rate that is negotiated in the room block.
Right.
And I think the biggest thing, selfishly, for you as a bride or a groom is you're going to get perks. And you're going to know those perks up front, because when you work with your travel professional to book the wedding and research the wedding, when we provide proposals, we always provide the perks or the promotions that are at that given time. So you know up front what it is.
Yeah.
And some of these promotions can help you. I mean, in some cases, I say to people, I would choose that specific resort, because you may save $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 because of this current promotion.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the benefits of the contracted rate. And it to me, it's the way to go.
Yeah, I feel like it's a hosting thing too for me. I think it's just the extra touch to hosting and taking care of your guests, where you're already making arrangements for them, pointing them in the direction, doing some of the work in advance so they don't have to dig too much. So it's just like a little extra step. But I do have a question, because I actually had a bride friend brunch on Sunday and got a really, really good question, which was, if you have a room block and you decided to get 20 regular, maybe like a tropical view, and then 10 of the oceanfront rooms, or like the really good ones, and you're already starting to sell out of the 10 that you didn't really expect, and you have friends that are gonna want the larger one. How do you, is shifting an option, or how do you handle that when that? Yeah.
So every resort has a couple different things. There's legal language around that in the contracts about group growth. And then there's practical matters related to when you're actually booking the group. But we see that all the time, and that's why I think part of our job is to have that conversation with you up front. We always ask, do you have big spenders, show-offs that we need to get a specific suite? If I always tell people, if this resort has swim-out rooms, I know they're more expensive. Just listen to me. Book as many as we can get, because what will happen is, if we don't have them, your friends will come to someone else that has one. Then they'll be calling us, saying, hey, I'm at the resort and I want to upgrade. It's too late. Or they'll go to the front desk. But an answer to your question is yes. So the resorts, the good resorts, and this is important, the right resorts will typically allow us to play around, either swap rooms, add rooms, or even better is periodically we'll have someone say, I went on the resort website. I'm a guest of Omi's wedding. I went on the website and I saw this room, but you guys don't have it. We can typically, if the resort has it available, we can request it. They will add it to the group block so that the brides and grooms get the perks. So again, we won't know the rate up front, but we can request it be added and they will give us the rate. And then if you as the guest say, you know, I don't really want it, great, we give it back to them. We just tell them we don't need them. But we're always swapping around rooms because we may sell out of a category and we try to get the next available.
Okay. And what happens if someone originally secured oceanfront and then something happens and they end up they can't afford that anymore, lose a job or something like that, and they have to go down? Is that a problem? You know what I mean? Like downgrade?
Do it prior to final payment. I mean, I think what we see with the contracts is the flexibility is up until final payment. Okay. So it's not a problem. Pay your deposit, then 6 months later, final payment, 9 months, whatever it may be, is due. And then if you want to change, then we can do that. We can, as long as we have the inventory, we can swap it out. If we don't have the inventory, then we may have to request it. I will tell you that we typically don't see downgrades. We typically see the other, which is people may book the least expensive and then realize that it's only $74 for 5 nights to get the pool view room or to get the swim out or see the ocean. Then they want to upgrade. But, you know, I think the resorts are telling us the thing that they're seeing now, and we're seeing this also, is the least expensive rooms are selling out and the most expensive rooms. So like if we look at one of my favorite resorts is Dreams Playa Mujeres. They have some of the coolest rooms that sit right down on the beach. They're like villas. They have their own private plunge pool. And I think they maybe only have 12, 14 of them. We have a bride that wanted 10 of them for like November of 22. Sold out.
Wow.
You know, we got one. We have a bride that wants the presidential suite there. That's like $4,000 a night. We can't get it. She's like, I'll change my dates for that room. So I think people, COVID related, are just going, I have all this pent up demand. I haven't spent my vacation money for 2 years. I'm going to put it to this vacation. So we just don't see the downgrades. We see the upgrades. And again, it's a conversation we have with people up front. Tell us more about your group. What do you think? Because I always say to people, look, if you're planning your wedding a year in advance, you're giving your guests 9 months to pay for this, right? So the differential between the cheapest room and the swim out room, which is typically the novelty room people like, maybe on a 4-night stay is $100 to $150. But think about that over 9 months. I mean, if someone wants to send us money every month, what's it, another $70 or something, you know, $20 a payment, whatever they want to do. But the novelty rooms, the swim out rooms, families want with kids because moms say swim out rooms are great babysitters while I'm getting my hair done, right? Let dad sit out there with the kids so she has peace and quiet. And, you know, millennials and 20, 40 somethings love the swim outs because there's a party in the water, right? And, you know, it's always fun if we have a bunch of swim outs in the resorts, we request that they're close to one another. It's actually fun that if you can get 3 or 4 of them in a row, then you have your own little lazy river. It's almost like a private party. So, but to answer your question, no, I don't see downgrades. I see upgrades over time.
Okay, that makes sense. Especially now with COVID. And as far as there's a huge trend of the accepted RSVPs right now, where, you know, couples will send that obligatory invitation, not expecting people to say yes, but COVID has everyone with cabin fever, and they've been able to save some money and do all of the things that, you know, for a good amount of people, and for the lucky people. So they're saying yes to these weddings. Like, yeah, I'm coming. Yeah. I'd love to come.
And I'll tell you, we would typically say, and I did a video on this, that about 60, I have some science behind this, but about 60% of the people you invite prior to COVID would attend. I think we're up to 70% now. And the strangest thing is happening. This is really strange.
Don't miss part 2. 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 Don't miss part 2.